Boom, we're live.
In Cohen, we trust anybody who doubted the king can kick rocks. We got Kyle on the LIRR. Couldn't be more of a Mets fan right now. It's all things are good in Mets land right now. It's opening day. We always win. We've got Lindor locked up. We've got Barstool the ballpark has officially been salvaged despite COVID. We got, things are good despite being like full-blown residents of Panic City a mere, 11 hours ago. Were you nervous? Were you nervous, Clem? Were you getting scared?
I wasn't nervous about Uncle Stevie, the greatest businessman of our time, not coming through. I was more nervous about all the goddamn mean tweets I was going to get from people if it even went up to like 7 o'clock. I was like, my dinner is going to be ruined. My dinner of chicken parm. Chicken parm for breakfast, chicken parm for lunch, chicken parm for dinner, with a nice, refreshing Coors Light to wash it all down. The presenting sponsor of We Gotta Believe, the beer that's made to chill. You guys need to chill. Why are we all so happy that we have Steve Cohen as the owner if we're just going to act like assholes the entire time? Come on.
Like we said this about the game, where we got to start to give the team a little bit of slack and be like, we're not, the sky can't always be falling. Well, that's still, technically we don't know how this team is going to play under Steve Cohen yet. The one thing we do know for sure is Steve Cohen as a businessman. And we didn't people weren't even willing to give him slack. I had no problem if they just said 12 years, 385, here you go. I would have been totally fine. There was no doubt in my mind this deal was going to get done. Maybe not by this. When it got late until Wednesday, I was like, all right, I guess I'm not going to get it done by opening day. But there was no way Francisco Lindor was ever not going to be extended at some point somewhere along the lines. It was crazy for the Frank the Tanks of the world. I mean, Tank jumped ship, man. Tank jumped ship. He's at the bottom of the ocean right now. Francisco Lindor's here for 10 more years.
I had my whole argument mapped out. I was like, well, Cohen is like a businessman. He knows negotiating. Maybe the best option is when all the shortstops are available. I was talking myself into it, and it's just no, of course he's just going to get this.
He's a businessman.
He woke up. He opened his bedside table and he said, "You know what? Thumbing through the cash. Yeah, let's give him an extra $25 million."
You know what he did? He was like, "Oh, I miscounted. Oh, okay, yeah. We can give him that."
He was at that dinner. Lindor was eating his chicken parm, and he was like, 20 more? 20? 20 is good. They were discussing the tip. And he was like, 20 more million. And Francisco Lindor was probably I'm okay, good, fine, great, we're done. Okay, I'm gonna eat. Let's go.
Despite the fact that the deal is done, we don't have to worry about it. I did find it to be an interesting kind of discussion. The fans who are I know for a fact that 385 over. By the way, whenever you're listening to this, we're recording this at 8:45 in the morning. Brett, it's fucking 4 a.m. on the West Coast. This is we woke up nice and early to get Lindor Day rolling. But it was an interesting discussion with that deal. 385 over 12 is a nightmare. It is. It's years 8 through 12 would probably feel very Robinson Cano-esque, where it's this is a fucking disaster. But I truly, genuinely had no problem with it at the same time, because my logic was that by then, Francisco Lindor is either our savior and we'll keep him for 100 years, or we haven't done anything. We haven't won a World Series. He's a total bust, and I'm so fucking miserable that then we're living in shit. We're in a living hell at that point. So what's 2 more years? So my thought was the extra money and the extra money you've got to pay, and the couple years of having a 40-year-old shortstop at $35 million. That pales in comparison to me if it means that Francisco Lindor is going to start this era happy and ready to rock. I'm just learning in my own experience. If you're signing a new contract and things go well, you're fuck it, let's go kill it. If it's a drawn out thing, it's all right. I mean, I guess I'm still happy to be here, but guys, you know what I mean? So I was let's just go if this is what it takes. But I also understand the other side of it, which is like Cohen said, he's here for sustained long-term success, and you don't have that by giving out 12-year deals. The people that bothered me were I had a guy say, well, what happens when you got to turn around and then tell Conforto, Stroman, and Thor? Like, well, first of all, only one of those dudes is even like halfway to Francisco Lindor in my mind. The other two guys, you tell them, you're not worth the same thing as fucking Francisco Lindor. That's how that negotiation goes. Like certain people get certain treatment at certain times. Certain money is available to others. So I would have been fine with it either way. But this does feel like a happy medium, like in between, right? Like up the money a little bit. They kept the years down. 360 when you put it all together with next year's. That's a big fucking number. And yeah, in the year 2030, I'll be thinking about like, oh no, like we spent too much money on this guy.
That's Keegan's problem.
Yeah.
That's Sienna's problem. Keegan and Sienna are going to be
on that one. Let little AJ and Shay do that shit.
That 12 years isn't even real anymore, right? Yeah. Like 2030. I don't even know how long 12 years from now is. And I don't give a shit either. And this has been a 12-year year. We just lived through a 12-year year. I can't do another one of these.
It's 1 year.
You and me are going to be dead in 12 years, okay?
God willing. With fucking nothing, but just bury me with my World Series titles right now. And those other guys, if you want to get paid like Francisco Lindor, play like Francisco Lindor. It's very easy to do. That's all you have to do is just be one of the best players in all baseball.
It's the production on the field, but it's also off the field. Like he's going to be one of the faces of baseball. He's going to be the guy that's going to lead everybody. He said he didn't want to be the leader in the clubhouse. Now you're the guy. Now he can come through day one and say like, this is my team. This is how we're going to run things. And it's a huge difference in the grand scheme of like the franchise.
Right. And I love the guy to death, but Pete Alonso, we don't need you at the negotiating table next time, bud. And you know what's so funny? Just there's like knowing I think a little bit about like Pete. I feel like he's a good teammate and all, but I think he's thinking like, well, if he gets $400 million and I can hit 50 home runs a year, okay, I see where this is going, Peter.
He's a union guy.
Yeah, that was Noah saying deGrom should get paid $100 billion trillion, right? It's
well, listen to this. Listen to this. I saw what's that dude? Oma Minaya fan. This contract is deGrom, Cespedes, and Piazza combined.
Oh my god!
It's more than those three guys combined. It's the biggest contract in Mets history times 3. You take the other 3 biggest and put them together, and it's still not as big. So here's the thing. This was a weird offseason. Listen, anybody who thinks that like Mets fans are dramatic or like, this happens to every team, like just take a look at our offseason. Fuck off, okay? This doesn't happen to every team. But I feel like there was, and then Steve Cohen being wrapped up in outside, off the field baseball, like out of baseball news. It was just weird with a lot of times to like kind of for people apparently to jump ship on Steve Cohen. And then like now, so at the end of the day, you take a step back and it's like, all right, he signed a franchise shortstop for $360 million. Like anybody who was like, where's the wallet? Where's Steve Cohen's money? How come he's not spending his money? Like, well, he went and got you somebody. He spent $360 million on a guy. He plugged up like several other free agency holes. Like, I mean, short of being absolutely comical and handing out all the money to Bauer and Springer and everybody, like this was a monster free agency, monster offseason that the Wilpons never would have ever come close to. So fuck off anybody who bailed on Steve Cohen.
You know what I'm realizing now too? This solves the Twitter thing because I was real nervous about him on Twitter.
For the record, I still want him on Twitter.
But now it's like if he can talk all this shit and get shit done. Yeah. Now I like that he was like, it takes 2 to tango. Yeah, he's like, because when I was like, this is gonna piss Francisco Lindor, and not maybe even Lindor, but like his agents. It's gonna piss his agents off. But it's like, I'm cutting checks for $350 million. I'll say whatever the fuck I want. Now I'm like, let's go.
Well, you have to imagine that Steve Cohen was like, I'll stay out of, I hope this is the case. I hope that he's like, I'll stay out of, in-game management. I'll stay out of telling Francisco Lindor how to bat. This is my realm. Like, I do business. So you wanted me. This is how I do things. This is how I get deals done. I've done 1 million of them before. I just don't think – I don't ever think making things public unless that's what pushed the deal done. Like, maybe that is the right way to do it. But I heard whispers that the front office was kind of like, we need you to chill with the Twitter. I didn't say anything, but they were like, they were like, we wish he would chill with the Twitter, because it just makes the negotiation that much harder when the fans are involved and the media is involved. And then if you're doing back and forth behind closed doors, I think it's understandable. It's like, as a player, I think I'd be like, they're going to make an offer. I'm going to ask for more. They're going to want less. Like, but when you make it public, then it becomes a dick measuring contest. Then it's like, well, now you're trying to make me look bad. Now I look greedy. Now you look poor. Like, so that's where I think things can go south. But that's also maybe how you like force shit done by opening day. So in Cohen, we try. The Church of Scientology. You don't think that Scientology questions Tom Cruise and L. Ron Hubbard, do they? No. You shut your fucking mouth and you follow Steve Cohen to the end of the year.
I want any fan that said that Steve Cohen is a Wilpon or another version of the Wilpons or a new version of it, I want them arrested. I want them thrown in jail, and I want them prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. That's what I want happening. That's slander. That's defamation.
That's defamation of character. That's defamation of character. We're going to have a deposition with Frank Fleming because he is beating that drum so fucking loud. He told me, I said this? Where did I say this? Oh, I said this on the conference call we had with all the people from Barstool at the ballpark, but I'll repeat it here. Frank the Tank said Francisco Lindor was going to sign with another team. Robert Gazelman, who sucks, was going to blow the first 10 straight games of the year. 10 in a row, blown games by Robert Gazelman. And then Dylan Betances, his new nickname is Buzz Lightyear because his ERA is to infinity and beyond. And that Steve Cohen is just another Wilpon and that he's a fraud. So that was and as he said all this, he said all of it through his hat, which he was chewing on the brim. So that's where Frank the Tank is at. And Clem, if you're calling for the arrest, that means Frank the Tank has to go to jail.
I mean, I'll sign up for that content. Frank the Tank going to jail, and he goes from working the courts to in the courts as a. Send him in the, Frank, I'm sorry, I'm throwing you in the paddy wagon. There's going to be plenty of Mets fans with you. Plenty of Mets fans who were ready who turned on Uncle Stevie, turned on fucking Lindor. It's like, oh, I'm going to boo this guy, and I was like, oh my god, we're going to have a year where we're
never
treating
get
him.
that. Like,
yeah,
Piazza got it too when he came here. Remember when he came
get
here?
what he can get.
Yeah,
he's paying he's hitting home runs already. He looks incredible in the field. Like, yeah, he wants to get paid the most. Which, by the way, he got paid $1 million more than Fernando Tatis Jr. Because that's got to be a dick measuring contest. Mm-hmm. And then you got Frank the Tank, who's got the stench of the Wilpons. Who's like, I wanted Springer, I didn't want Lindor. Well, where's Springer? He's on the IL with an oblique injury, and he's missing opening day. Which would totally be
wants Springer over Lindor. Like, get the fuck out of here, Frank. That's crazy talk. I mean, I cannot fathom not allowing someone to negotiate and try to get as much money as they can. Like, that's how this shit works. And I also don't understand when people say you're getting paid to play a game. It's like, okay, well, the billionaires are getting paid to watch a game. like, at least he's out there doing it. Why are you going to blame the guy who's a millionaire? Why don't you say that the billionaire is the one who's being greedy? The billionaire can throw out 2 more years like no fucking problem. So why don't you give him shit? I never understood that. Just go to the top of the chain if you're going to complain about the rich guys getting money.
The thing I was really upset about too was that his agency is Sports Meter. Did you see this? And no. It's the agency that negotiated Ozzy Albies' absolute dog shit contract. Right, I'm like, we're gonna die for the sins that happened to a player on the Braves, and the Braves are getting him for $6.
Yeah, that was crazy. I did see that. Like, they're like, fuck this. This agent's trying to get but I'm sure again, Steve Cohen probably shows up at the table and is like, hey, how'd that Ozzy Albies thing go? How'd that contract go? Like, he probably disarms that. I wonder how much. I would love to know. Is he in the room, or is that just Alderson and company? Or does he come in? Did he come in on Wednesday afternoon? Like, let's fucking do this, kid, or is he there from the beginning? I'd love to know all that stuff.
I feel like he's the guy that they call in as the closer. You ever hear about the Judge Judy every time her contract's up, she comes into dinner and just slides across the thing. She's like, this is what you're paying me. And if not, I'm just going to do my own show.
Yep.
Judge Stevie.
Gangster. I love her. Steve Cohen and Judge Judy, the 2 biggest gangsters on the fucking planet, man. So good news about Barstool the Ballpark. I guess everybody who's already going to the games knows, but I do want to shout out the Mets because I was ready to be fucking pretty furious with them. And then they came through big time. My guy Aaron and Jake over there. So like even though there's like 20% capacity, and originally our whole outing was going to get cut down to like 20%, they ended up giving us basically we're renting out the 7-line section instead of our usual section, and they accommodated us with different beer, a different beer special and everything. So almost everybody from who bought tickets to our April 10th game is going to be able to enjoy April 10th, which is pretty fucking wild considering like everyone else got cut down by 80%. So shout out to them. I mean, maybe it trickles down. Maybe everybody starts acting competent. I can guarantee you, under the Wilpon regime, this somehow would have been totally botched, and like everybody, like only like 10 people would have got to go, and then they all would have got COVID. It would have been so. Barstool at the Ballpark is on. Hopefully May has even less issues, but if there are issues, apparently they'll be on top of it, ready to offer different packages and different compensation. So fear not if you want to go. So I guess Lindor Day is still sort of on for April 10th, and every April 10th for the next fucking decade, and then forever, because then we crown him like then he's our savior, and he brought us a title. And there's cake and punch, and Lindor Day is April 10th from now until the end of time.
Just chill out. Everything is going to work out all right. Just chill. The beer that is made to chill.
You know what it is? It's like Mets fans.
Thank you.
They grab their Coors Light that's been sitting in the sun, and they're like, the fucking mountains aren't blue. Where are the fucking blue mountains? Well, it takes a little bit of time. Put it in the cooler. Let your frosty Coors Light get nice and cold. Let the mountains turn blue, and then you crack it open and enjoy it. You can't get a negotiation done immediately. You can't get blue mountains immediately. It takes a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of patience, but it's worth it because a cold Coors Light on opening day with some blue mountains, there is nothing better. It is a treat. It is a delicacy. And we'll be drinking it all year long here at We Gotta Believe. We'll be drinking them when we blow saves. We'll be drinking them when we save games. We'll be drinking them when we win. We'll be drinking them when we lose. We'll be sipping them day games, night games. We'll be drinking them at Barstool at the Ballpark. So make sure you get your Coors Light this year. Make sure you give it some patience. Make sure the mountains are blue. And I want everybody to crack them every single time you hear the Edwin Diaz beat drop, because that's when our guy's coming in. And then you, like I said, you have them ready. You have them ready to be drinking like out of fear and you need to calm down, or out of celebration. So you hear the music, you get an ice cold Blue Mountain Coors Light.
That was a hell of an ad read.
That was
a hell of an ad read.
Especially at 9:04 in the goddamn morning, man.
Speaking of night game, now A-Rod's going to talk about the Lindor deal the entire night, which is perfect for us. He's going to be talking through his gritted teeth like,
I mean, that's
Steve Cohen got the deal done.
A-Rod money is now like jump change, bro. I vividly remember seeing 252 across the bottom line when I was I don't even know how old, the original
Rangers,
the Texas Rangers deal. And I was like, what? I still think that is the biggest. I still feel like that's the biggest jump in sports history. Like, I remember when
Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say when Kevin Garnett got 120, I was like, "What the fuck? One? Like, there's a one handle. There's 3 digits." But then that jump to 252 was like, so. I mean, even though that number has now been like grossly eclipsed, I still feel like that first time was so ahead of its time. He was such an asshole. It was like literally he just said like double the contract, right? He was like, I wanted to twice as much as anybody else, and they were like, okay. Just like we're just completely asinine. Like, oh, this has nothing to do with your on the field production. It's only about your ego. Okay, here you go. Completely crippled them for the next decade, and that which led them to trading him to the Yankees and just the butterfly.
By the way, then he went to the Yankees, and then he's like, I want to own my likeness. I don't want my image out there or my name used unless you're paying me. And he got that deal too.
Which I know. I mean, like you got to give it to the guy. Like, I mean, he got the best deals in history. Twice, each time. If he just wasn't such a dumb asshole, I feel like people would have loved him. He wasn't such a cheating, dumb asshole. But I mean, the A-Rod, at least here in like Mets world, I feel like the A-Rod, Cinderella story of the PR turnaround. I feel like that's pretty much fucking done. I don't want to ever see that guy again. I mean, once he was threatening to own this team and bring the Wilpons back and all that shit. What do you think? You think? I mean, it's hard to say because let's say that the Lindor trade had already happened, and then you think then the A-Rod group like bought the Mets. I mean, would they even have had any money to throw around like that? No, right? I mean, it would have been like
not like this. Not like this.
Dude, what do you think deGrom thinks? I feel like there's like again human nature where it's like you look. If I looked around and like some new kid was making like triple what I was making, I'd be like, what the fuck is this? Literally, it's like triple, right? Almost.
The encouraging thing I heard from him was when he was asked about Trevor Bauer, and he said, Trevor Bauer waited till free agency. I had that choice. I could have waited. I chose not to. So that means he is thinking logically about it. Like,
yeah,
he had those discussions somewhere.
Yes, but that is him going like, I fucking chose not to. What the fuck was I thinking?
I mean, yeah, but you do like that's somebody taking responsibility for that.
Yeah,
and at least he's taking some of his own blame. There's a completely new owner. He's probably like, I probably should have waited for the multi-billionaire.
But that's what I mean. So even if it's not salty, it's gotta be. There's some level of like unhappiness, right? Where it's just like, God,
but there's nothing you can do. It's literally your own fault then. It's obvious too. Like you did it. I don't know.
But don't you think? Like I don't know if you're. Can you just give like bonuses in baseball, like non-contractually signed bonuses, where it's just like, oh, we have a new deal. Like every single start, we give you $1 million. So
Steve Cohen is going to give deGrom a stock tip.
Yeah.
Some insider trading shit, and DeGrom's going to be a billionaire somehow.
I would sincerely hope that's true. I really, really do hope that's true. I think that would be very cool if it was like like Jacob
like
DeGrom
an SEC violation. Yeah, that would be awesome.
I want to see Jacob DeGrom own like a hedge fund subsidiary now. He owns like JDG Group or some shit. He just fucking sits there and collects 30% on his money every year.
Cohen's gonna send him like 50 Bitcoin. Like, here, it's
Yeah.
untraceable. Don't worry about it.
Dark web shit to keep our guy happy. I'm down, man. I mean, I'll start a fucking GoFundMe for this guy. We'll pool all our money together. If like every Mets fan donates $5, we can give Jacob DeGrom another like $20 million or some shit. I don't know.
We're probably gonna set him up with like an NFT of his like rookie card, and then just everybody will just bid on it. And
I wonder. I wonder how much. I mean, this is probably not at all what happens, but I wonder if like a guy like Steve Cohen, who is so business savvy, comes in and he's like, "Here's what we're gonna do. We're setting up these accounts for all you guys. You're all gonna put your money in here, and then every time you have a big highlight, we're gonna NFT you. We're gonna sell it at Sotheby's when I'm buying my own art, and like everybody's making money." Because that, I just feel like that would be like, yo, I want to go play in Queens. I heard that you make like double your contract. Like, who cares what you signed for? Because, and it's probably not like that at all. He probably just sit there and let the money, pile up and watch wins pile up. But it would be cool if it's like, you're all now my players and my clients. Now I take care of you too.
Everyone just chill. Everything's gonna be fine now. That's all that matters here, boys and girls. All that matters here right now.
Fucking chill, man.
And this is the perfect way to jump off the opening day optimism. Everyone feels good on this day no matter what, right? We're always like, well, we're gonna go 1-0 and you start the season, everyone from us to the Orioles feels great. I was talking to RDT yesterday, by the way, and he was talking to me about Harvey, and I was like, hopefully he does it right for you guys. I was like, what is he, your 5? He's like, buddy, he's our 2. I was like, a recovering Harvey is your 2?
Bro, I thought they signed him to a minor league deal. I thought he was your 5 in AAA. Holy shit. You're 2. Oh my God. And like I used to be afraid of the Harvey bounce back, and I think now I'd be rooting for it because it would be like a preposterous story. Like I used to be like, oh, I don't want to hear people saying.
It's
like,
also that thing like now you have the hot. Now you have like the hot new girlfriend, and you're like, well, I hope my ex-girlfriend's happy.
Yes, exactly. It's like I hope
great no matter what.
Yeah, for sure. So tonight is right. So tonight 7:09 first pitch down in Washington, where we'll just see that horrible Bryce Harper contract on display. Oh, what what a piece of shit contract that is. I mean, I'm a little nervous that like I finally this season have completely bought into we automatically win on opening day. So that means we lose tonight. But it's hard to think that Jacob
Everything's
DeGrom
different. Everything's
out
different.
there. Like Jacob DeGrom is ready to fucking go. So it's
Jake's gonna get hit. He's gonna throw 105.
dude. He is absolutely on steroids.
The weird thing is where you don't bulk up. You can just use your arm like a
2.5 miles per hour every year for like 6 years. It's insanity. I feel like he's like Inigo Montoya, where he's just been throwing not as hard as he can. He's like, I know something you do not know. I can throw 104.
How weird is that? That's a perfect comparison because he was a shortstop. How weird is that he was like playing the wrong position until like college, and he was like, "Oh, I might be like one of the all-time greats at a different position."
How right is that he's a New York Met who is playing? He's actually like a bizarro Met. We actually found the right position for him. I'm surprised we still don't have him playing shortstop. The Wilpons probably would have been like, you know what? I know Jacob's a good pitcher, but we don't have a guy like Lindor, so why don't we just make you play shortstop for the rest of your career?
I can see like they were like moving Rosario to center was in the mix, and then like, what about shortstop? And they're just like, Jake? In a meeting. That came up in a meeting. I want someone in that front office to leak it to us.
Somebody like the same way that Donald Trump said, let's just blast nukes at the hurricane. Somebody was like, wow, we have this fan favorite already that plays for a stop. Why don't we just put him there? And Jeff Wilpon was like, let's circle back to that. Let's put a pin in that. That's not a bad idea. Let's talk about the bullpen first, and then we'll come back to shortstop. Fucking moron. What do you think they're doing today? Like you think the Wilpons are rooting for the Mets? I think that Jeff is. I think that Fred is. I think that Jeff is not. I think that Jeff is like, fuck. They signed the guy for $360. They're like ready to rock. Opening day's here. They're gonna win. I think it seems like Major League. He's rooting against them, and I don't blame him. I would root against him too. I would for sure be petty like that.
Yeah, he has to keep like a straight face too, right? Because probably everyone else in the family is like rooting for them, and then the one moron who almost cost them billions of dollars, right, is just sitting there. So he probably has to like quietly just stew in his own misery. It is the baseball gods have thrown him into this evil hell that he has to live in, which is what we lived in with him for the last couple decades.
Exactly. So Jeff, talk to me in 35 years and tell me how you feel, because that's where I've fucking been, you asshole. That you deserve every minute of that.
I'll tell you who's the big winners in all this.
Us?
The 96ers. The 96ers are feeling good right now.
Shout out to the 96ers. The We Gotta Believe Barstool Sports book is officially on, so you can back Clem with the line is set at 95 and a half, which I literally can't say with a straight face. 95 and a half for the Mets win total. You get plus 185 if you back Clem for the over. So 96 wins for your boys, and you can ride with it. Listen, if they get 90, if that over hits Clem, we're doing cake and punch. So like, if you ride with Clem, that means you're probably riding all the way through November with this dude. So I don't know if it's necessarily going to happen, but I think for the when these gamblers all say it's a value pick. It's a value pick. I think the value that you'll get out of rooting for them, if it does hit, you'll be like, I fucking told you so. And that also means that you're rooting for an unbelievable team who's probably going to end up winning 100 and I don't even know how many you need to win the World Series. That's how bad it is.
Oh, yeah.
111 win, whatever the fuck it is to win the World Series. So that Clem and the opposite of a value pick, I don't think there's much in it right now if you bet that the Mets are going to go under 95 and a half. I think Penn is like, yeah, we know, bro. So mount up. Become a 96er with your boy Clem. You ready for this, Clem?
I've never been more ready. We're going to go on this ride together. It's going to be a beautiful thing to see. And we're like, just do what feels good. Just do what feels good. Responsibly do what feels good. Root for the Mets to win games.
How about another bet for you, Clem? What's the win total the Knicks are on pace for?
They're right around 500, and that's 72 games, so 36.
So why don't we do Michael Conforto, I'm hoping, or maybe Lindor's a better bet. I don't know. A home run total coupled with a Knicks win total.
Ooh, okay.
Like, there's got to be someone right around. Like Pete would probably, I hope, go over. Conforto, that's a bit much asking for 36, I feel like. But with a full season, if he was playing like he was last year, it's probably very possible. Lindor, I think, has hit. I don't even know what it is. I think
The thing is with the baseballs too. Like I don't know. Like that's the whole thing about this whole season. I don't know. We don't know what we're getting as baseball fans. This is the Rob Manfred era that we live in. We didn't know if we were getting a DH until like a week ago. We saw John Heyman.
We don't know the rules of the
John
game.
Heyman last night was like, "Well, for anyone who's still holding on hope for the DH, it's not going to happen because the." And I'm like, "How are we tweeting this the night before opening day?"
Who was still holding on hope for that? I didn't know that was even possible. I thought that was dead in the water like months ago.
If Mickey was the coach, he would have a DH in the lineup. We would just send somebody out there, and they'd be like,
Absolutely.
"No, that guy has to play the field." And he'd be like, "Well, oh, what?" Okay.
Did you see that quote from Louis Rojas about baseball? I loved it. It was like they were asking him. I guess someone asked him about like pace of play and how long the game is. And he was like, and I just read the quote, but I picture him like quizzically saying it. He was like, "The game of baseball is not long. One single game, I could watch baseball forever." I was like, this is fucking poetic, man.
That's beautiful.
He was like, one single game is not long. Baseball is not long. I love baseball. I can watch baseball forever. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to cry.
That's a fucking Alou right there. Everyone, he's an Alou. I don't know why. I wish he had. If he had the goddamn Alou last name, I would feel honestly 100% better about him. Just because the Alou, it's like base. That is baseball, right? That's like Skywalker for the Force.
Yeah,
that's like some Game of Thrones shit. Like finding out that
House of Alou,
Targaryen.
The House of Alou. That's a shirt right there. We throw a big baseball on a flag. The House of Alou. It's a very niche audience, but it fucking plays.
Who are the great houses of baseball? I think the Molinas, like House Molina, powerhouse. I feel like
the Griffies,
House Griffey,
the Griffies, House Griffey. There are some serious powerhouses in the Dominican out there.
It's like every single player on the Blue Jays right now. Like Biggio, Vladdy, fucking.
Yeah, that's like House
Toronto.
90s. That's like House 90s where it's like the second generation, the second coming. God, that would be if I was not a Mets fan, I would be on that Blue Jays bandwagon so hard. That's like that's like an old washed up guy like me getting to relive my past. That's like a chance to relive my glory days. So fuck yeah, sign me up for that. But we're a 96er. Clem, I'm officially going to be a 96er. I decided.
Let's go, Uncle Stevie. See, Uncle Stevie, a couple extra bucks, and you just get everyone. You just raise everyone a little higher their expectations and their happiness. That's all it takes in this crazy world.
I'm going to be a 96er to the tune of like a $10 bet, but I'm going to be a 96er. I'm going to be a 96er here. Over 95.5 here we come. So I figure now might be the time to pick. We could go through our win total, but do you think? I feel like Jacob deGrom's winning another Cy Young. I feel like Pete Alonso's winning another home run crown. Do you think there's any other hardware to come our way? And I guess, and then who would be like your own personal Mets MVP? Within the team awards as we kick off 2021 here.
My biggest bounce back guy, and he didn't even have a bad year last year. But I just feel like McNeil being healthy, being at his right position, all that stuff, he's just gonna rake. And I put you're like Cy Young, home run king. I'm not gonna say we're gonna have all those guys on the team, but I think McNeil will be in the mix for the batting title when the season's over, kind of a thing. So that's like my one of those three comes true. I'll be thrilled, and I think. I don't know. It's like the power probably won't be there like it was a couple years ago because the balls are going to be different, which is just crazy that this sport changes. Remember when basketball changed the basketballs? They 2 months in, they're like, oh, we got to scrap it. And it never came back. They changed the balls every month in baseball.
But I guess it's different because you have pitchers being like, what the fuck? We hate this. But go with the juice balls. Go with the juice balls. It was fun. Everyone was mashing. And then there was never a moment where I judged any pitchers. I actually gave them the benefit of the doubt. I was always like, well, you can't blame them. The balls are juiced. It was the best excuse ever.
Yeah.
You say the balls are juice. Everybody wins, you know? You're hitting home runs and nobody blames me for anything. This is great.
Except for Edwin Diaz. We blame him for everything.
we blame him for absolutely everything. Because, you know, God, he sucks so bad. I think you're right with Neil. Again, I always try to think about things in terms of, like, real life. Like, if someone came to you at your job and they were like, listen, like, Clem, forget about everything else. You're just going to blog about the Knicks this year, and we're going to be happy. You know, like, they're putting him in the right spot.
Yep.
They're telling him, like, just, like, don't worry about anything else. We finally got you in the right position, and just go do what you do. And it's probably just, like, such a weight off his shoulders where if he can't mash now, I would be absolutely stunned. So I'm hoping that there's some major table setters. And who's okay? Let's keep a little bit of the Wilpon era alive. Who are you gonna hate this year? Because I know my answer.
Who's yours?
You guys know my answer. It's fucking Brandon Nimmo. And it sucks because he's like an integral part of the team that I'm going to be secretly rooting against every time I see him. But like usually it's a reliever who you see every now and then, and you hope to get through it like one inning. I'm going to see Nimmo like 500, 800 times this season. Like I can't. It's a physical compulsion. I hate the guy.
I feel like I'm going to skew towards the bullpen is what it's all going to come down to. Because even the guys we have, like the part-time defensive guys, like I always like those guys as long as they do their job and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go – I'm not going to – I feel like Familia is almost like too much of a layup, and I don't know if he's going to be as skinny as he was last year. I'm going to go with Betances. It's going to feel like it's a straight-up sabotage move from the Bronx. He comes in. Yes. There's absolutely nothing for us.
Sleeper cell. He's been
exactly
here and he's activating to ruin the Mets.
Now, let me say this, though. I don't even hate him, but we have to mention this. Jed Lowry just being the everyday second baseman for the A's. What the fuck is that about?
Like a good fucking team, a well-run organization with infrastructure. What the fuck is that? Like, I can absolutely tell you, I'm rooting wholeheartedly against Jed Lowry. That is some bullshit. That he was dead on our team for like 3 years, and now he's just an everyday player. Get the fuck. Everyone else is like, wow, what a great story. And everyone in Queens is like, drop dead, Lowry. Get the fuck out of here. That is insanity, man.
Do we even know what his injury was? I don't feel like we ever got to hear.
No, it just said left leg. It was robotic, left leg.
It was like hockey, like lower injury, lower body injury.
And Billy Bean saw all that happening, and he was like, he's going to be okay. He's just going to come back, and we'll pay him much money.
They must have him on the insanely cheap. He must be. He's probably paying them like for the right to play. Who do you guys? Who's going to be your LVP?
I'm hoping it's not JD Davis, but I feel like everybody, all the pressure that nobody wanted him to play third. If he presses at all, especially after last year, I think he's bound to either have a great season or an absolutely career-ending season. You know what I mean?
I did not even let that thought cross my mind. JD Double Davis is gonna bat like a $196 here. Let's call it like it is. He has been a Cinderella story on like borrowed time. I would not like if he does just keep. I would be equally. It's a coin flip for me. I think he's gonna bat like 315 again, or like eventually the carriage turns back into a pumpkin and JD Davis goes back to like what the Astros were like. Yeah, this guy, whatever, fucking, we don't care. So that would suck. That would hurt. I didn't even consider that. I feel like I just bought into Double Davis so wholeheartedly. You got Brent,
especially with Piorme right behind him.
Yeah, that's true too.
This is actually like a fun exercise because everybody you run through, you can see the negatives in everybody, but you're also like, but that guy could have a really good year. So
there's no except in the bullpen for every team is always a crapshoot, but it's a good team.
My pick, it's funny because my pick is Familia, but I'm like, wait, if we really hate Familia, is that because it's the one gap? Because Diaz is pitching really well, and we're like, can we just get to Diaz? So even if we hate Familia, it might be because
also
other things are working out.
Also, it could be that he's just the worst of the worst. And, like, everybody stinks. He really, really stinks. Like,
But
it's
if,
been
but
years
if everybody
now.
stinks, I'm going to hate Diaz more than I hate Familia. So if I hate
Yeah,
Familia the most,
got it.
it's actually a good thing.
That's actually
we're trying a positive thing this year.
That's
The
a good
Clancys are
point.
different. Everything's different. The Clancys are different.
In order for Familia to be in the crosshairs, that means it's like a mathematical if-then sort of thing. If we hate Familia, then Diaz is like leading the saves. You know what I mean?
Yes.
All right. I like that. All right. So, I mean.
Now, who's the opposite, though? Who's your guy that you like, you feel is going to be better than people expect right now? You know what I mean? Do you have anyone that you're like, you're expecting more for than you're really like? Like Jacob deGrom wanted to Cy Young. What?
Francisco Lindor. When Francisco Lindor wins the fucking MVP this year, everyone's going to say, wow, he's even better than we expected.
But imagine that. Imagine if he wins it, but also Pete wins the home run crown and McNeil wins the batting title, but Lindor wins the MVP because he's having that good of a season. It's better than all these guys. He's going to have to win the triple. Well, he can't win the triple crown. That is exactly. He has to be like second in all of the categories.
And while Jacob deGrom wins his ninth Cy Young, and then we serve some cake and punch.
And after 96, I mean, that's a 96 win team. What you guys are describing right there, Cy Young home run champion.
That's a 105 win team.
That's the 96er bet hits on like September 10th. Okay, that's a squad right there. So get your Coors Lights ready for a 96 win team. Bet on the Barstool Sportsbook. Back Clem. Become a 96er. Well, you know what? We'll make some shirts. We'll make some shirts. We'll make a 96er in Mets colors. And maybe we can even get, like, if you bet $100 on that, you get a shirt or some shit like that. So I'll figure that out. We'll do 96er shirts and get ready. It's opening day. It's opening night. We're 1-0. Put it in the books. I'm just going to say it right now. Put it in the books. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Put it in the books. The Mets are 1-0. Francisco Lindor is going to win the MVP. Pete's going to win a home run crown. Jeff McNeil's going to get a batting crown. Jake deGrom's going to win Cy Young. What could go wrong?
I'm responsible using my Coors Light to chill out right now, Kev, because I don't like when anyone says that, let alone the king of mushing. We will be back we'll be back tonight. We'll be throughout the season. We'll check in during games, after games, all that kind of stuff. Coors Light will be presenting as well. Shout out to them. I don't like that we are ending on that note.
No. We're ending on that note because it's different. It's different this year, Clem.
Okay. I'm
different. In Cohen, we trust. In Lindor, we trust. We've got the whole fucking core set. We've got the Cy Young locked. It's 96 wins or bust. It's cake and punch or bust. It's different this year. And if you don't believe me, then what are you doing here? Clem, tell him the name of the pod.
We gotta believe!
Gotta believe!